He seems really unstoppable.
Helen Yee here in New York. Always great to be joined by the one and only, the Hall of Famer, the legend, Mr. GSP, Georges St-Pierre. Always great to see you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, well, first off, how was the flight? It's not too long, right?
Yeah, just arrive and yeah, just get comfortable in the room. Now I'm ready to go.
Well, you're always in immaculate shape. I love the posts you post on Instagram about your workouts. How do you stay so disciplined, especially during the holiday season?
Well, that's the thing. You just said it. Discipline. I mean, sometimes you don't have the motivation, but you need to have more discipline even though your motivation is down. Sometimes you'll wake up in the morning, you'll be very motivated, you have a good night of sleep, you want to do it, but sometimes you don't. And I'm no different than any other human being. Sometimes my motivation is down, but my discipline is always there.
Well, what's your go-to cheat meal?
Well, I just had burgers, so I love it. I mean, I have cheat meal all the times, but the thing is, with people sometimes they're like, how do you lose weight? I mean, I think it's quite simple. It's mathematic. You just have to try to burn more than you consume.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's the simple things that maybe people overthink, right?
Yeah, of course there's other factor, I guess, but I think it's mathematic because nobody escaped the laws of thermodynamic, right?
You're right. Very well said. Very wise. But we are here in New York. You're the former welterweight king. There's a welterweight title on the line tomorrow between current champion JDM and Islam Makhachev, who's going from 155 to now 170. You have experience moving up in weight 170 to 185. What do you make of the fight tomorrow?
Well, there's a lot of factors to take in consideration. Islam Makhachev is moving up in weight. When you move up in weight and you're trying to put on muscle mass, when you fight, especially the first time, he's probably gonna feel like he's fighting with a backpack because you carry more weight. So your body is not used to it. So if the fight goes in the deep waters, it might favor GDM, because of that. Like Islam might get tired. However, I think if the fight is a one-way fight and a total domination, it's because Islam Makhachev managed to put GDM down and with the superior grappling skill to finish him. That's the two ways I can see this fight finish tomorrow.
Well, do you think that the pound for pound status should also be on the line tomorrow?
Ooh, I don't know. I think pound. I think I would put Islam Makhachev in the pound for pound because of the competition that he has faced in his weight class. Now he's attempting something very different. That of course, if he wins, he's for sure right now the pound for pound. He's probably in my book right now the pound for pound already. But if he does it tomorrow, it will solidify his position as the pound for pound right now. However, there's other guys in contention in pound for pound. I believe Elias Tuporia, Mirad is there as well. Thomas Penol was there, but unfortunately, with what happened, the eye poke, it was a close fight. He might have lose some point, but I'm very interesting to see him come back to see how he's gonna bounce back, and maybe he's gonna get there again. But I think Islam Makhachev in my book, if I'm totally honest and non-biased, I think he's the number one pound for pound right now.
Well, I think a lot of fans would agree with you on that. But looking at his resume and compared to his brother, his longtime training partner, Khabib, how would you compare them if he does get that win and become welterweight champion tomorrow night?
Yeah, well, if he wins tomorrow night, he's gonna become a member of a very select club in mixed martial art. Yeah, I've been in. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a tough fight. I mean, I feel that JDM does not have the respect that he deserves. I don't know why people, even in his last fight in Montreal, he was the underdog, and I think he's a lot and a lot better than than what people give him credit for. And I'm a big fan of his style. You know, he makes me think of a little bit of a sort of a Nick Diaz. You know, like very like in your face type of guy, forward pressure. You know, like relentless, very crafty ground game. You know, very hard to hold down. It's a very similar style.
Yeah, and he is very underrated as well. But nearly 8 years ago, November 4th, here at Madison Square Garden in New York, you won that middleweight title. You became middleweight champion. So when you reflect on your journey, what are you most proud of?
Well, I'm proud of a few things. I'm proud that I become champion. I'm proud that I helped to change the game, you know, in the way the media and most of people at the time when I first started saw the sport. I think that I helped make the sport cleaner, you know, with the drugs, would try to force UFC to take the initiative of using an entity to test fighters. And also, I'm proud because I retired on my term. I retired from the game. It's not the game that retired me. And that's one of the things that I'm the proudest. It takes a lot of discipline.
Oh yeah, and it's very rare indeed. But looking at the current UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev, who do you think possesses the biggest threat to him right now?
Oh yeah, Hamzat Chimaev. It's another guy is in the you know the best the pound for pound ranking. I should mention. Yeah, he's there right. He's there right now. He's very complete, very well rounded. I think one guy that could have been a threat stylistically that I saw was Bo Nicol, but unfortunately for him, he lost the fight. Um, it's interesting. I another guy that I thought could have caused problem to Khamzat Chimaev was Whitaker, but you know, and then Khamzat Chimaev just beat him in the first round. He broke his jaw, I believe. So I'm not sure. He seems really unstoppable right now.
Yeah, what do you think it takes to beat him? Like, what should the blueprint be to beat Hamzat?
I think if you have a guy that is well rounded, we see when I watched his fight against Kamaru Usman. Usman took that fight on a short notice, and he did pretty well. I mean, the first round was all Kamzat, second round as well. But if I remember correctly, I think Usman got the third round. So let's imagine that Usman would have had a full camp to prepare himself, and they would have fight on a 5 round. That would have been an interesting fight, you know, for to watch, you know. So there's a lot of question marks, you know. I think nobody is invincible. I think right now Hamzat is the best at 185, but that doesn't mean if you're the best that you always win. It's not the best fighter that wins the fight. It's the fighter that fight the best the night of the fight. And we see it all the time in other sports. It's not always the best baseball team or basketball team that wins the game. Is some nights they lose even though the odds favors them. The same thing in fighting. People for some reason believe that the strongest man always win the fight. It's not the case. Sometimes you zig when you should have zag and bang, finish. You make a mistake, go home, and you know you can have another day to you know to get another chance, you know.
Always full of wisdom. But earlier you mentioned Tom Aspinall and the unfortunate situation that happened during his last fight against Cyril Gahn. In your opinion, and given the way that MMA has evolved and the UFC has evolved, what do you think the solution should be for eye pokes or to prevent eye pokes?
Well, I think Trevor Whitman had a design a pair of gloves, and I'm not paid to do that. It's not an ad, but he really had a pair of glove design that it forces you when you put it on, it forces your hand to fold. And I believe the mistake with the UFC glove is that they're straight. So when you put your hands through the glove and you relax, your finger comes out. You need a pair of gloves that is folded, a little bit like a boxing glove that when an MMA, but for MMA. So when you put it on and you relax your hand, it automatically fold itself. So I think it would help to prevent the eye gouge because naturally when you're in stance and you relax, it will fold your fingers, and I think it will perhaps diminish the number of eye pokes.
So you think it's more of like the glove problem?
I think it's the way the gloves are designed. I think there's things that we can do structurally to modify the gloves and make them in a way that it naturally folds itself. And if you want to open your hand, you have to force to open it. And naturally, when it's relaxed, it comes back to its initial position.
Like I mentioned, I mean, you stay disciplined. You put out such great content on your Instagram. Do you have any secret talent that maybe the fans and even the fighters may not know about you?
Well, I might have a few. I used to be a very good chess player. I used to compete when I was young, but I never passed provincial level, like in Quebec. Like when I was competing for the provincial, like on the top kids in Quebec, I always lost. I never made it past that far. I love dinosaurs. I know a lot about paleontology. I mean, not to not if you compare me to a real paleontologist or a real PhD, but I mean to compare me to a real normal person who love dinosaurs, I know a big deal of it because I read a lot about paleontology, archaeology, and especially about the Mesozoic period, the period which started in the Triassic and end at the end of the Cretaceous.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Well, the iconic Tyrannosaurus Rex, but recently they just discovered something very interesting. If I may, they found out that there is a new species called Ninotyrannus, and there was a big debate among paleontologists to whether or not it was a different species because Ninotyrannus was shaped similar to a Tyrannosaurus with small arms. It's a Tyrannosaurus, but it's different species than a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It lives in the same time, and they know that now for sure. So a lot of the fossil that we have of young Tyrannosaurus Rex need to be restudied because we might be in presence of a different species, which is interesting. It changed a lot of our view of the environment in which Tyrannosaurus Rex used to live. He had competition with another predator that was, of course, smaller, but a very, very dangerous animal that lived alongside him.
I'm getting a great history lesson here. And look, I think maybe later, if you walk around like Central Park, you may see Wemby playing chess. I hear he's a great chess player as well.
Yeah, I've seen some guys. I mean, chess is it's a game that it's like any other sport. If you don't practice, you lose your skills. And last time I have played chess is with it's at Joe Rogan Comedy Club, the Mothership.
Yeah.
I play with I can't remember the name of the comedian. He was beating everybody backstage, and they told me, "Hey, you play chess? Yeah, let's play." So we finished. We did a draw. But I was like, man, I wish I would have a rematch now. I think I'm gonna get him next time.
I think you've earned it. But for the fans who love you and can't wait to watch for more of you, what would you like to let them know?
Well, I'm coming out with a big project called The Path. It's December 3rd. It's gonna come out, and it's online. I'm gonna share all my secrets, all of my knowledge that people can use. And you don't have to be a professional athlete. You can be someone who just want to be in shape, who want to lose weight. So we're gonna give you a tutorial of how you can reach your goal. It's for all levels, and it's all not only about training. It's about wellness, mental health, mental strength. There's a lot of good advice that you're gonna be able to find in there.